In my industry, it is said, a barber is the only person whose conversation you can follow, even though he talks over your head. So this afternoon, I won't intentionally be talking over anyone's head. Does anyone not know what this is? Of course you do. This is my chair. I have been a barber for almost 20 years. I am very active in national and local barber trade associations. I am a master educator of barbering. I travel this country teaching the art, science, and business of barbering. I teach my craft. Barbering enables me to meet people from all forms and walks of life. So I want to talk for a moment about the significance of this chair. When men and some women sit in this chair, something amazing happens. This chair transforms into a time portal, a psychiatrist's couch, a chamber of commerce, and a soapbox. With this chair, I have seen the wonders beneath the waters of the coral seas of Australia through the eyes of an oceanographer. I have flown to exotic lands across the globe with a charter pilot that flies to the most exclusive places that I have ever heard of. I have felt the struggles of a veteran who is transitioning from the battlefield to the home front. More than my time spent with world travelers, I love to connect with those that sit in my chair, that share their thoughts, ambitions, and fears with me. For example, my client, that is a seasoned business executive, who comes to me more for mental grooming just as well as physical grooming. In his world, the stakes are high, and the pressures of making one irrational decision potentially costing millions of dollars, jobs, and resources is always lurking. He no longer remembers the man in the mirror, and his shadow has become extraneous to him. How does one balance the pressures? He looks forward to this release valve, the barber's chair. There are those that don't need this psychiatrist's couch, but rather community connections. I remember the great Major General Perry Smith talking about building those connections within your brain trust. Through this piece of tonsorial furniture, I am able to connect those dots on a daily basis. Building a new home, I have an architect. If you have pests in that home, we're not talking about teenagers, okay? If you have pests in that home, I have an exterminator. If you're going through a divorce, I have an attorney of bankruptcy and a bartender. If you are looking to get into politics, yes, I have a psychiatrist. Great conversations stem from this chair, but sometimes they can be upsetting and unpleasant. Like my client, the young grad student from the Northwest that explains of how he was raised. There has always been a bias against immigrants in this country. Over the past few years, for him, it has grown tremendously. He supports his viewpoint by saying that most immigrants are sucking the life out of government assistance, and they are robbing this country of great jobs for great Americans. I do not begrudge my client his soapbox. But the irony in it is, his barber comes from a family of immigrants that never asked for a handout, only the check for a hard day's labor. A family that picked fruit in South Florida from the dark of the morning through the hellish heat of the day to the dark of the night. There are instances where my clients reflect my views, but that is seldom the case. But what is important is what is familiar to all of the people that sit in my chair. They feel like my chair is a safe space. It is a space where they do not fear judgment. It is a place where they can be honest. All of them, in one way or another, leave this chair with a better sense of themselves and others. Matthew Arnold said, "Resolve to be thyself, and know that he who finds himself loses his misery." The fans of this chair, all of them, in one way or another, leave this chair with a better sense of themselves and others, minus the misery. So, here goes. My confession. I often wonder, have I given my kids enough fundamentals in life to keep the golden rule polished up? Will my commitment to education and success principles trump the pitfalls that lie ahead for them as minorities in this country? I have taught them valuable lessons that I have learned behind this chair to keep them as shepherds amongst sheep. As a father, these are my concerns. But I have hope. Through this chair, we have found a system. By talking out our fears, concerns, frustrations, and hopes, it empowers a greater conversation that fuels autonomy. Technology and robotics are great, but there are just some things that they cannot replace. This world needs more barber chairs. Thank you.